Soviet line drifting out here was cut to 6-4 down to 11-8, now out to 13-8. Better money arriving for Sayadati, 9-4 back to 2-1. Peace Envoy 13-2 into 6. Young Earn is 8-1. Nicolot 16, Nijo 20, and Dance Turn just clipped in there from 66-1 to 50-1.
Let's have a look at Sayadati. There she is, and she's got a new jockey on her back today, Frankie Dettori. She's a funny filly, this bit, or mare I should say now, because she's 5 years old. She has to be produced just right. Well, Walter Swinburne knows her backwards. Frankie Dettori, though, is a dab hand at producing them very late. She's just getting a little bit warm, though, Jim.
Yes, she looked warm in the paddock, Jimmy, and down there she's just, I'd say, on the point of wanting to get on with it now. She's a filly who hasn't won for 22 months. At her very best, she was absolutely brilliant. The question today that must be answered, though, is she still anywhere near that brilliance of past?
If Frankie Dettori can get behind Soviet line and get a lead off him, that's going to be right up Frankie Dettori's street, really, Jim, because he'll have his main danger in front of him, and I think this is what he wants today. But I see Walter Swinburne, in fact, has popped off Soviet line, but I don't think it's anything to worry about. In fact, he's got to give weight. He's got 9 stone 7 in the back, and, well, Walter, as you see, jumping back aboard, is about, I would say, about 8 stone 6 in colours. So he's taken quite a lot of weight off his back. But he does look well, doesn't he, Jim?
Does indeed, Jimmy.
A really tough, strong, old-fashioned type of horse. My goodness, he's a gelding. I wonder if ever they would be tempted to try and go and win one of the top hurdles with him later on this winter, because looking at him there, wouldn't he just jump?
He might do well after that Breeders' Cup Mile as well. Right, they're going around behind the stalls, and the stalls handlers about to load them up for this Queen Anne Stakes. And the latest betting, Soviet line now 13-8, just drifting slightly from 6-4. Sayadati at 2-1, Peace Envoy out to 6-1, drifting, and Young Earn at 15-2 now, 16-1 bar. Last couple going forward now. Young Earn just going forward. And time now to join our commentator for Royal Ascot, Peter O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Jim. That was Nicolot that went in. This is Sayadati nearest to us. Then Dance Turn, and finally Peace Envoy. Peace Envoy goes into stall 6. That's it. They're all in for the Queen Anne Stakes. Under orders, and they're away. And Soviet line and Dance Turn and Soviet line, these two disputing it in the early stages. Sayadati taking quite a strong hold in third, then comes Nijo. On the outside then is Peace Envoy, and then Nicolot, who just had to be checked there, and the back marker is Young Earn, and Soviet line setting out to make it under Walter Swinburne. From Dance Turn in second and Nijo next, and then comes Sayadati. And going a very good pace they are too in this 1 mile Queen Anne Stakes, with Soviet line the top weight, conceding weight all round, leading them from Dance Turn and Nijo. Peace Envoy towards the outside, Sayadati tucked in nicely just in behind the lead under Frankie Dettori. Getting closer now are Nicolot and Young Earn. Being pushed along is Peace Envoy, but still Soviet line the leader from Dance Turn. Nijo, Sayadati in fourth and going very smoothly. Nicolot with a lot of running under him too, but not a lot of room. Not a lot of space to go at the moment. Still Soviet line towards the right of the picture. Peace Envoy getting into top gear now over on the far side. Sayadati just poised in behind Soviet line. Nijo still very well in contention. Nicolot has found space now over on the far side in the sheepskin noseband, and it's Soviet line and Nicolot and Nijo now as they race into the closing stages. Nicolot over on the far side, Soviet line on the near side. Nicolot has taken the advantage. He's going to win it as they race up towards the line. Here's a surprise in the opening race. Nicolot is the winner. It's a photo per second between Nijo, Soviet line and Young Earn, with Sayadati next in fifth, then Dance Turn, and finally the very disappointing Peace Envoy. And so the result of the opener here, the 1995 Royal Ascot Queen Anne Stakes, is first, number 4, Nicolot, owned by Mollers Racing, trained by Jeff Ragg, who has a great record here at Royal Ascot, and who now gets off the 13 mark, and ridden by Michael Hills. And it's a photo for second, third and fourth places between Nigel, Soviet Line and Young Earn. But this is the winner, Nicolot.
Well, a real turn-up in the first race of the Royal Meeting, with Nicolot gaining a decisive win. Fine training by Jeff Ragg to get this outstanding 2-year-old back to his best form at the age of 4. Wins decisively by 2.5 lengths from, oh, isn't that close for second place, is it? Nigel on the far side, or Soviet Line on this side, possibly Nigel. Young Earn is back in fourth. But the unlucky horse of the race, and I doubt if Frankie Dettorius had a nightmare ride like this all season, is Sayre Darty. It drops in behind Walter on Soviet Line. They've all come over to the stand side. And Frankie has never for one moment seen daylight. In fact, he's almost last as they come to a furlong and a half from home, with plenty of horse underneath him. Soviet Line holding on to his position. Frankie looking for a run on the rails. Meanwhile, Nicolot is making his run on the far side of the course. Young Earn coming wide. Still Frankie looks for room. He pulls out here. He's only got 200 yards to go and runs straight into another block there inside of Young Earn, and Nigel on his outside. Meanwhile, Michael Hills has driven Nicolot to the front. Soviet Line, having made it a terrific blistering gallop, is beaten by his Group 1 penalty. Nigel runs on. Frankie accepts it. Sayre Darty's back, has never had a run for a money. It's a nightmare for the young Italian, but a dream for Mollis Racing and Jeff Ragg, as Nicolot wins the Queen Anne Stakes in brilliant style.
Nicolot, the 16-1 winner of the opener. Michael Hills enjoying a tremendous season. This is his 24th winner. And number 14 for Jeff Ragg to the right there. And Trish Ragg in the picturesque wide-brimmed hat, the pink one. Jeff with a marvellous record at this course. It's a 4-year-old, this Nicolot, by Night Shift, out of Nicoletta by Busted. Had a dream run under Michael Hills to win very clearly in the end, and it's a very, very close photo indeed between Soviet Line and Niger, with breathing down there next, and beaten by Soviet Line once again for the 6th time, Young Earn.
Well, a beautiful ride by Michael Hills, but this was the position that confronted Frankie Dettori. There he is at the back there. What's he going to do? It doesn't look as though the favourite's going to drop out, so there's not going to be any run down there. So really all he can do is go the whole way round. But he's 2 furlongs to go now, so really it's asking a little bit much to do that. So this is what happened. Frankie sat and suffered. You can see Michael Hills there in the yellow colours. He's waiting for the gap to come, and the yellow sleeve colours there. Things don't look too encouraging for him either at this moment, because Dan Stern's still in front of him and Nigel. But Michael decides now that he's going to pull round Nigel, and luckily he finds a Peace Envoy in the pink cap. He's going to drop out in a moment. Young Earn pulls good and wide, so a beautiful dream gap comes there for Michael Hills on Nicolot, in between Pat Eddery weakening and Michael Cannan with his tongue out. And meanwhile, Frankie is still on the rails. He's sitting and suffering and hoping for a miracle, but Walter's not going to let him through. And now, with literally a furlong, less than a furlong to go, Frankie's still hoping for a miracle, hoping something's going to happen. Where can I go? But Nigel's drifted over. Now he spears out, as you can see. Thinks there might be a tiny gap there between Nicolot and Young Earn, but Young Earn comes bearing in on him just as he wants to make his run, and there's nowhere whatever for Frankie to go. So there it is. Nicolot wins the first race of the meeting, and Jonathan Powell's down in the unsaddling.
Yes, with me, John Ferguson, racing advisor to Mollis Racing. John, that seems to have been quite a upset there, but those of you close to the horse aren't that surprised, are you?
No, he's been a horse we've always loved. I mean, Jeff Ragg's had great faith in this horse right from the start. As a 2-year-old, he won nicely, and we thought he'd go and win the race at Tattersalls, and he was just touched off by Leicester. And then, as a 3-year-old, he went and ran in the Craven and ran a very, very nice race. And then we planned to go to the Guineas, and he fractured a bone in his hock in his blowout 2 days before the 2000 Guineas. We really felt he'd run a very, very big race that day. And Geoffrey, being the brilliant trainer that he is, rather than bringing him back in the autumn, left him alone. And I'm delighted he's been justified today because, as you saw the way the horse won, he won very nicely.
With an injury like that, was there a doubt that he would race again?
It was always a worry, but the x-rays, Geoffrey and the vets looked at the x-rays, and it was a very clean fracture. You know what I mean? It was a straight fracture. And time was always going to be a healer, but obviously you're always frightened with a horse, an athlete of that kind, as whether he's going to let himself down again. But thank God he did that today.
This season he's run well, but he didn't really show that or advertise his claims to win a race like this. He's come back in trip. Could that be crucial?
I think it probably is. I mean, he was always a horse that, looked like he'd get the 10 furlongs, but as I said, we thought he was going to be a Guineas horse, and we believed he could be a Guineas winner, and therefore to bring him back to a mile when he did just fail over 10 was probably the sensible thing to do.
What would be the plan from now on?
You'd have to talk to the trainer. He's in charge of that sort of thing.
And Moller's Racing, we remember the colours so well, that he knows so many good horses. Where is the stud now?
There is no stud. Moller's had White Lodge, which they sold to Sheikh Mohammed a few years ago. And since then, we've just bought yearlings, which we've done, and Nicolot and First Trump, with the 2 4-year-olds as they are now, that we bought, and we've bought yearlings every year since then.
And a lot of yearlings to come through this time, now 2-year-olds?
No, we've just got 3 2-year-olds this year. We've got a colt by Danehill, who's going well, and we've got a Mujtahid and a Primo Dominant.
Great start to the meeting for you, well done.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
And here are the starting prices, the first race of the Royal Ascot meeting. Number 4 first, number 4 Nicolot, 16 to 1. Second, number 5 Nijo, 20 to 1. And third, number 1 Soviet Line, 13 to 8 favourite. There are 7 runners. The result of the 2:15 of Thirsk was number 13 first, Society Girl, 25 to 1. Second, number 6 The Butterwick Kid, 14 to 1. And third, number 4 Needle Knot, 9 to 1.
A huge crowd here on the first day of the Royal meeting. Certainly looks upwards of 40,000, and they expect that there'll be crowds of up to 190,000 people here over the 4 days of the meeting. They're expected to drink 45,000 bottles of champagne, eat 2.5 tons of beef, 2 tons of fresh salmon, 1.5 tons of smoked salmon, and 4,000, would you believe, lobsters. Well, one man who won't be eating any of that, I'm afraid, like most jockeys, but I expect he will at the end of the week, is the man who's ridden the first winner here, Michael Hills. Michael, congratulations. Well, the race went well for you in the end, but you just had a moment of anxiety at 2 out when you were looking for Rowan.
Well, I was always travelling well. Sayadati was going well, and Mick Canam was waiting for a late run. So, I was just trying to manoeuvre myself, so I gave my horse time to pick up, and it's always like that in a race.
But you're drawn, the stalls were put in the centre of the track, and yet Walter's dragged you all over to the stand side, and that's what's created the problem.
Yeah, well, no, Walter did that at Newbury, and, he obviously does go left, or that's the way he wants to go. So there was always a chance that was going to happen, especially when Emperor Jones came out. He probably would have gone and run up the middle of the track. So it changed the format of the race, really, when Emperor Jones came out.
Well, this was the moment when, just for a moment, you looked a little bit short of room, but then suddenly it came for you there.
Yeah, Pat's horse got tired, and Mick was still sitting, and I thought I'd better go take him on. I didn't want him to get first run on me. And once I moved on him, I was always going to give anything a race.
Well, he looked a terrific horse as a 2-year-old, and of course things went wrong for him last season physically. And just for a while early this season, it didn't look certain that he was back to his best, but he obviously is now.
Yeah, I mean, he had a year off, and it really took us a long time to get him fit. Plus, we still didn't have that Guineas last year to find out what the actual trip was. So we darted around the 1.25 miles, and he ran such good races. And then the boys at home, and Paul Edry, who rode in work with me, and Mr. Ragg, we've all decided mile, and we're right on the day.
Well, it's a terrific start to the meeting for you. You've got some good kids. Sadly, Owington's not running at this meeting, but you've got quite a few rides to look forward to.
I have, yeah. Pentahi will run a great race, and I think Home Magic will run a great race in the King's Stand.
And the ground, how's it riding?
It's good, fast ground. There's no jar in it, but I'd say it'll get drier during the week. It's perfect racing ground.
Michael, congratulations.
Balanchine now odds on. The punters have backed her down from evens to 5 to 6. Eltish drifting out sharply to 4 to 1 from 3 to 1. Mutaram is 5 from 4. Just Happy is 7 from 6. A little bit of money for Needle Gun, 33 into 25. And Ionio, having drifted out to 50, just clipped back there, 40 to 1, the outsider of 6.
Well, one thing today, Needle Gun will keep them honest.
Interesting also that he ran second to King Mambo at the St James's Palace here. Anyway, here's number 4, Ionio, stablemate, carrying the Beaverbrook colours. Now officially, this is the Dayspring Company Limited. Lady Beaverbrook having passed away last year. And Clive Britton, the trainer, Michael Roberts, back from Japan in the saddle. Ionio, much travelled himself. He was out in Hong Kong in April, but a horse who's just a bit short of the class required for these Group 2 and Group 3 races. Honest enough, but just short of class.
His best run, Jim, I would say, came in the Great Voltigeur last year when he was second behind Sacrament. And I would say that was by far and away his best form. He's not adverse to go and making the run-in, so I think if they dawdle that we'll see Michael Roberts go to the front on him. As you see, he's got a nice pair of full-cut blinkers on him there, and Michael Roberts is a very good rider in front. He's learned his trade in South Africa, where for many seasons he was one of the leading riders, and well, he's a very, very good jockey. He's ridden all around the world, and he's held his own with the best.
Now, Tony Donnelly gets £100 for turning out Needle Gun, as you can see there on the screen, and he does look quite well too, number 5, Needle Gun.
I can't remember Michael Kinane riding Needle Gun before, Jim. I don't know whether this is the first time he's ridden him. I've seen him run a few times, but I haven't seen him actually aboard him on one of our shows. But there you are. He knows his way around Ascot nearly as well as Michael Kinane does.
Well, certainly not the first time Michael's been wearing those colours, because he was successful in both the Chester Vase and the Italian Derby in the colours of Saeed Manana, the white with the red sash, on a horse called Luso. And the Saeed Manana horses come in under the Dali Stud Management Group. But the last couple going forward, let's join Peter O'Sullivan.
Yes, Balanchine, the last in. That's her, all installed.
They're all in. They're on
Jockeys!
And they're away. And Ionio on the outside, Just Happy on the inside, and Needle Gun being rushed up now to take the lead. Needle Gun taking the lead from Just Happy, with Balanchine in third, and then Mutaram, and behind them Eltish. And Ionio now the back marker. Needle Gun and Mick Kinane making it from Walter Swinburne on Just Happy. Balanchine just cruising cozily on the outside under Frankie Dettori. In fourth now is Eltish on the outside of Mutaram, that he relegates to fifth, with sixth and last Ionio, and still Needle Gun making this a good gallop from the white-faced Balanchine, the odds-on favourite, then Just Happy. Then comes Eltish, the horse that was beaten only 4 lengths by Thunder Gulch in the Kentucky Derby. Little gap then to Mutaram, and then Ionio, and they've got just 6 furlongs to run now. And it's Needle Gun, the Balanchine showing there with a white face towards the outside, Just Happy on the inside. Then comes Eltish, Mutaram and Ionio, racing now towards the home turn. They've got half a mile to run in the Prince of Wales Stakes, and it's still Needle Gun from Balanchine towards the outside, Just Happy on the inner, then Eltish, who's not done with yet, then Mutaram and Ionio swinging into the home straight now, and as they do so, it's still Needle Gun the leader, but Balanchine moving sweetly towards the outside, Ionio making ground from the rear, Just Happy, then comes Eltish, and finally Mutaram well into the straight now and coming down towards the 2 furlong pole, and it's Needle Gun on the far side. Balanchine coming between horses is Just Happy, then Ionio on the outside. Needle Gun is the leader from Just Happy in second, and Balanchine is well beaten as they come down to the furlong pole. Mutaram fighting there on the inside, and here comes on the outside Eltish, and Eltish and Mutaram are fighting it out as they come up towards the line. It's another shock result at Ascot. Mutaram and Eltish in a photo. It's a photo between Mutaram and Eltish, very close. Needlegun was third, and behind Needlegun was Just Happy, and believe it or not, Balanchine was fifth, and Ionio was sixth. This is a close photo, a very close photo between Mutaram and Eltish. Mutaram, the finisher on the far side, Eltish, the finisher on the near side. Needlegun back in third place. Whatever happens, it's another shock result in the second race at the 1995 Royal Ascot. This is a very, very close one indeed.
Well, what a stunning finish, and we need the camera here, all right. And Mutaram, who looks sure to win, just a few strides from the post. In the end, it is as close as it can possibly be. Eltish, just perhaps for a split second, was back in front again before the post, but as they pass the post, well, that is as close as a dead heat as you can possibly get. A Steward's inquiry is announced. It's no surprise. They were desperately tight. Needlegun leads into the straight. Sad to see Balanchine falling to pieces here. Nothing in the tank when Frankie went from shove to push. Nothing happened except he reeled. Walter Swinburne's there on Just Happy, flattered for a moment. Willie Carson's looking for room on the inside, and Pat Edry is following him through. In a field of six, they're so tight now. This is where Eltish rolls, gives Ionio a little bump, and now Willie Carson gets a split there on Mutaram, goes between Walter and Michael Cannan on the rails, and Pat Edry comes on the outside. Does he just edge over a little bit in front of Walter there? Now they're neck and neck in the last 100 yards of the race. Mutaram and Willie Carson look to have just got it, but Pat Edry puts in another terrific drive in the last 50 yards, and Eltish responds. Eltish pulling Mutaram back in the last 25 yards of the race. It looks as though Mutaram's going to hold on, but just as the post comes, oh, Eltish's head is down. That is some finish and some task for the judge. And what a thrill for those on the inside of the course here. They will think that Eltish, who's furthest away from them, has won the race. But they'll be wrong, I think, because it's either a dead heat or Mutaram's won it. That's the way it looks to me. But from inside the course, it looks as though Pat, with that great loose rein finish of his, may have caught Willie, but maybe not.
Yes, we'll leave that one to the judge. Meanwhile, a grateful pat there from Sheikh Hamdan to Mutaram. He's run a great race. He won this last year. This 6-year-old, he's the only course winner in the race, and a very anxious little group there. John Gosden just, you saw on Twitch's hand there, he simply doesn't know. He's on the 38 winner mark this season, John. This horse winner of 7 of his 18 races, he was when he went to post. He just felt Willie's heart there to see how that was beating. This is desperately, desperately close. It's one of the closest finishes you've seen at the Royal Meeting. Between Mutaram, number 1, Eltish, number 6. Eltish, a 3-year-old, winner of 3 of his 8 races. Mutaram, a 6-year-old, winner of 7 of his 18 races. Here comes the result. And the judge has called for a further print. The judge has called for a further print. In the interim, there is, of course, a steward's inquiry. So we have everything in this race.
Well, let's pick them up just before the 2 furlong marker, and the horse to watch is in behind the one with the red cap, and that's Mutaram with a striped cap, blue colours, about second last. The other one to watch is the pink cap of Eltish, which is back towards the rear. Now, a furlong and a half out, you can see poor Balanchine second from the right. She's starting to roll around. She's very tired. But look in behind, the striped cap of Willie Carson on Mutaram. Now he sees an opening there on the inside of Just Happy. And on the left, you can see Needlegun. Now they settle down, the 3 of them, with Eltish joining in as well. They're rolling all over the place. Just Happy has rolled out there and just dropped in behind. Mutaram, though, goes into the lead now. Eltish absolutely flying down the outside and picking that leader up with every stride. They hit the line, and that certainly is one for the judge.
And the judge still awaiting the print at the end of this Prince of Wales Stakes, which was first run under its present title, incidentally, in 1968. It used to be the Rouse Memorial Stakes, and that was founded back in 1878. Mutaram will be the first to win it in successive years if he's succeeded, and he'll be a fourth winner of the race for Willie Carson. And if Pat Edery has succeeded, it will be the fifth time that Henry Cecil has won it, and the sixth time that Pat Edery has won it. He first won it in 1975 in record run. And the two horses encircling the unsaddling ring as the crowd awaits the verdict. Well, the judge, the stewards are looking at a point at the 1 furlong marker, which affects horses Mutaram, Eltish, and Just Happy. When you think that a horse weighs about 1,000 pounds and a jockey weighs a little bit less, it's very difficult to keep these animals running straight as though they were on tram lines. Certainly they wavered, but I'd be very surprised if, whatever the placings are, they were in any way modified by the stewards. And the crowd's still waiting to hear the numbers called at the end of this Prince of Wales Stakes.
Yes, with the Mutaram's trainer, John Gosden, everybody down here is wondering which horses won. Do you think you've held on?
Well, we were in front before the line, but we were definitely beaten after the line. Right on the line, it's just on the nod. It's very close. It's a wonderfully exciting finish, anyhow. I'm delighted the horse ran well. If we've won on photo, great. If we're second in the photo, that's life. But I'm happy that he's run well, because he ran disappointingly at Newbury.
Very much like last year, John, in that Willie didn't have any room at all in the last two furlongs, and again threaded his way through the eye of a needle.
Yes, he looked rather like squeezing through the toothpaste tube, didn't he? He just popped through at the end, and the horse got there, and then he did his little game. He's 6 years old, and he still pulls himself up in front. But it was a great run from the horse, and a super race. Sorry the favourite didn't run well, but a good race between the two. You know, nice 3-year-old, and we're giving him 14 pounds, and he's a class horse, Eltish, so it's a lot of weight to give a horse a stone.
And this fellow was slightly off colour. He came back wrong, didn't he, from
the
lock-ins
at
Newbury?
I don't know what happened coming out the stalls, but he was laying behind, and he was wrong for quite some time, and we're absolutely thrilled with all the work to get him back again.
It's a good training fee. We just have to have a further puzzle because there's a steward's inquiry.
Yes, you never know. You might get lucky in a photograph and unlucky in inquiry. But we were quite coming here with misgivings, as you probably read in the press beforehand, so we're just happy he's run a good race. If he wins, it's just the extra benefit.
A tense weight still. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
And Bahrain now back to 3-1 from 100 to 30. So money for Adjorelli, 11-2, cut to 5-1. And they've taken the prices too about Charnwood, Forest and Vittori, up to 6-1, back to 11-2. Anis Mirabilis is friendless now, 5-1, 11-2 and 6. Star of Zilzal drifting to 8. Atticus 7 out to 11. Flemensfirth, that little interest into 12-1 now, out to 14-1 again. Back to 12-1 again though. And 66-1, Muhab the outsider.
Anis Mirabilis, number 2, ridden by Pat Edery, one of 3 in the race, owned by Sheikh Mohammed. And Anis Mirabilis, a horse I didn't have much luck at all last time at Chantilly in the Prix Jean Prat, there behind Torrential. That was a muddling sort of a race, a messy type of race. And Anis Mirabilis was beaten only a nose in a blanket finish. I think there was a nose, short neck between the first 4. Horse who'd run second behind Celtic Swing last year in the Racing Post Trophy. Obviously another horse who will be regarded as a yardstick when they come to assess this generation.
Being dropped back in distance a little bit today, which should suit him. And as we were saying a little bit earlier, Pat's no stranger to this. He's won the race 3 times. And also the trainer combination with the owner, one with Shardy back in '89.
Number 1 is Adjorelli in the colours of the Aga Khan. His last runner in England was a winner That was at Folkestone in November 1990. Trained by Luca Comani. Medilia was the name of the horse successful. Adjarelli heralding the comeback of the Aga this afternoon. And he is also the best turned out horse, Adjarelli. Stephen Coleman, his lad, gets £100. And Adjarelli ran a good race in the 2,000 guineas at the Curragh.
Wouldn't say he's the easiest of rides on that, Jim. He's dodging about a tiny bit, but he's a very green horse. He's only had, I think, the 2 runs before then. So he'll most likely have learnt a lot from there. I don't think there's many more to go in, so why don't we join Peter O'Sullivan?
The Star of Zilzal to go. Walter Swinburne, and now Olivier Deleuze on his first ride at Ascot. Atticus, trained by Cricket Head. His father Alec won it back in 1960 with Venture the 7th, and we're just waiting for Willie Carson now on Bari, and they'll all be installed for the St James's Palace Stakes, and that's it. Annus Mirabilis next to us, under orders, and they're away. And one of the first to show, Muhab with the black cap, with moving up on the inside, Annus Mirabilis. Just in behind them, Atticus, and it's Muhab from Atticus. Vittori on the far side. Then comes Bari with Annus Mirabilis on the inner, being tracked by Adjarelli. And Muhab setting quite a strong gallop here from Atticus for France. Then comes Annus Mirabilis, Vittori and Bari just being tracked, these two, by Adjarelli, but it's still Muhab as they race now towards the 4 furlong marker in the St James's Palace Stakes, and it's Muhab still the leader. Flemons Firth making good ground towards the outside. Atticus back in third now. Then comes Bari, just in behind them Annus Mirabilis. Adjarelli's got a lot to do from the rear, racing round the home turn now, and it's Muhab still the leader from Flemons Firth towards the outside. Then comes Bari travelling well in third place. Atticus over on the far side. Vittoria unleashing a run, and Star of Zilzal trying to come there towards the far right of the picture. But it's Bari under Willie Carson who's taking it up, and Willie storming for home now in a bid to ride his second winner of the afternoon, and looking sure to do it. And it's Bari striding away from Vittori in second, and then in third comes Charnwood Forest, and as they come to the line, Bari wins this in very impressive style. It's going to be close for second, with Charnwood Forest just getting up to beat Vittori, with Atticus behind them, and then Annus Mirabilis, and last was the pacemaker Muhab. So Willie Carson gets his name on the Ritz Cup Charity Trophy for the second time at Royal Ascot, and the result of the St James's Palace Stakes. First, number 4, Bari, owned by Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum, trained by John Dunlop, written by Willie Carson. And officially, it's a photo for second place. Officially, it's a photo between number 5, Charnwood Forest, owned by Sheikh Mohammed, trained by Henry Cecil and written by John Reed, and number 9, Vittori, owned by Sheikh Maktoum Al Maktoum, trained by Saeed bin Saror and written by Mick Kinnairn, with 4th, number 3 for France, Atticus.
And this is what this horse is capable of doing, putting up a devastating performance to win a Group 1 race. Bari showing his true merit today at the Royal Meeting, and look at the margin, the distance between himself and those engaged in the photograph for second place. It's 3, it's 4 lengths perhaps. It's certainly a long time before they come into our picture, and it is Charnwood Forest on the far side who just snatches the second place from Vittori. Well, what a brilliant performance this was, and all it needed was a strong gallop which was set today by the designated pacemaker Muhab. Willie Carson always travelling well, just off the pace, sitting there like a policeman waiting to go, and he doesn't even have to say go because Bari pulls his way into the lead. with a devastating display of class. Fleming's First drops out there. Anas Mirabilis had no room on the inside at all. In the end, it's the other Sheikh Mohammed runner, Charnworth Forest, who battles through to join issue with Vittori in a battle for second place. But it's only for second place because Bari is well clear and galloping towards the line without being fully extended. Willie Carson just shows him the whip there, but it's just a formality to keep his mind on the job as he goes 3-4 lengths, perhaps even 5 lengths clear of this high-class field to show his true merit. And, of course, to reflect the merit of Celtic Swing, who beat him in the Greenham and in the 2,000 guineas, and whose form is once again enhanced. Very close for second, but someone might have said, there isn't a second. And are you watching John McCurry?
The 54th winner of the season for Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum. A third triumph in the St James's Palace Stakes for John Dunlop, who won it in 1980 with Posse, 1991 with Marju, and Marju was also ridden by this afternoon's successful jockey Willie Carson, who now needs one for his half-century of the season. Amazing to think that Bari, the son of Riverman out of Wozna by Nijinsky, had previously won only one of his 7 races, when you think of the impressive style with which he won this St James's Palace Stakes first run back in 1834. A disappointing run for the Aga Khan, whose grandfather won this 60 years ago with Bahram, by Ajarelli. As form-wise, one would have expected him to be very close to Bari. Meanwhile, the official placings, second was number 5, Charnwood Forest, owned by Sheikh Mohammed, trained by Henry Cecil and ridden by John Reed, and third was number 9, Vittori, owned by Sheikh Maktoum Al Maktoum, trained by Saeed bin Sarur and ridden by Mick Kinnan, with fourth, number 3, Atticus. And the starting prices as follows.
First, number 4, Bari, 11-4 favourite. Second, number 5, Charnwood Forest, 6-1. And third, number 9, Vittori, also 6-1. And the 325 at Thirsk result from there. First, number 2, Subaru, 10-1. Second, number 4, Green's Bid, also 10-1. And third, number 6, Royal Comedian, 9-1.
John, so what are we going to debate now? Oh, are we on or not?
Yes, with me, John Dunlop, the very happy trainer of Bari, who's certainly proved beyond doubt that he stays a mile well today, John.
Exactly. I mean, he was getting fixed with this title of being a bridesmaid, and he wasn't going to win a big race. And today he's won 4 lengths, and you know, one couldn't be more delighted.
Was the pacemaker a big help to him, do you think?
I think it was. They went a fair gallop, I think, but you would never know what would happen without the pacemaker. So very grateful to Pete and Richard Hills for providing the pace and a sensible gallop, which helped him and turned into a proper race. It could have been a falsely run one.
He's a much, much better horse this year than last. Is he an example just of a late maturing animal?
I think if you look at him, he's a very big horse, and obviously last year he hadn't reached his full strength, and I think last year he just got weak and he just sort of tired in the last furlong or so of his races. Although he never ran a bad race when you looked at it, actually.
Absolutely. Now he's won a Group 1. What is the plan for the future?
I would think, I mean, it's early days to guess, but as you know, there are limited opportunities under these circumstances. I thought the Sussex was just the ideal race for him.
And take on perhaps some of those horses that have already beaten him in 1 or 2 guineas.
Why not?
And later on, John, today has been an extraordinary gamble on one of yours in the Britannia, Meadow and Militaire, won a little race up at Newcastle.
I read in one of the sporting papers that he'd worked better than Bari. I think he might be a steamer. He must be 6-4 on now, isn't he? No, he's a nice horse, but he doesn't justify this huge public gamble on him, no. And I hope he'll run well.
And he's had problems with the stalls before, hasn't he?
He has. He's been difficult, and my assistant, Robert Alcock, is here today to ensure he does get into the stalls all right, and I hope he does. But he's schooled very well in the stalls at home, so I trust there won't be a problem today.
And at the end of the day, one of your favourite horses, Harleston Brook, who is said to say longer than the mother-in-law, he needs every trip of 2.5 miles and more.
Absolutely. He's got an awful lot of weight, poor boy. He's very small, and he's got 9s and 8 to carry, which is tough, but he does stay very well. He likes the ground. Let's hope he runs well.
Well done, John.
Headed by number 1, Allied Forces, ridden by Willie Rowan. 2 is Dub Brace, Michael Wigham. 3, Gothenburg, Darrell Holland. 4, Oberon's Boy, Pat Edery. 5 is Rabican, Richard Hills. 6, Royal Applause, Walter Swinburne. 7, Russian Revival, Brent Thompson. 8, Sea Dane, Michael Canaan. 9, South Salem, ridden by Frankie Dettori. 10, Tagula, ridden by Michael Hills. 11, Take a Left, Kieran Fallon. 12, Want Fun, ridden by John Reed. And 13, Wissam, also ridden by John Reed, who's got quite a job on his hands. I think that probably means that Cash Asmussen rides What Fun. Cash Asmussen, What Fun, and Wissam, John Reed. Here's how they bet.
And Allied Forces, the expected favourite, drifting out here 2-1 out to 5-2, and Russian Revival 2 drifting from 5-2 out to 3-1. Then they bet 6-1 Royal Applause, 7 South Salem, 12-1 Wissam and Tagula together with Gothenburg, and that's followed by 14-1 Sea Dane, 20-1 Dove Brace, 25 What Fun, 33-1 Oberon's Boy, and then Take a Left there, just clipped in from 66 to 50, and the outsider Rabican is 66-1.
And that's it. And they're away. And Royal Applause breaks fast over on the far side, showing very good speed is Oberon's Boy, with also well up there Russian Revival, and Wissam also well in the picture. But over on the far side, it's Royal Applause from Russian Revival, Wissam nearest to us, then Oberon's Boy, and over on the far side, Rabican showing very good foot as well, but Royal Applause and Walter Swinburne still making it. From Russian Revival, Wissam, Oberon's Boy towards the near side, Tagula making a little bit of ground, so's Allied Forces making ground. Still the far side have it, Royal Applause, the leader towards the far right of the picture, Tagula being pressed by Allied Forces and Oberon's Boy. Russian Revival's well in the picture. Right over on the far left is What Fun under Cash Asmussen, but it's still Walter Swinburne on Royal Applause, being pressed by Russian Revival all the time. Here comes Tagula on the right of the picture. Inside the final furlong now, Tagula towards the right on the far side. It's a still Walter Swinburne on Royal Applause, and then comes Russian Revival as they race up towards the line. It's Royal Applause. Royal Applause is going to win it as they come to the line. Royal Applause is the winner. It's very close for second. It's a photo for second between, on the near side, Russian Revival, and on the far side, South Salem. But Royal Applause has made just about every yard of the running to duplicate Barry Hill's triumph in this race in 1985 with Shaw Blade, to get Walter Swinburne's name on the Ritz Club Charity Trophy at 1995, and to win for him his 3rd Coventry Stakes. Officially a photo for second place.
First was number 6, Royal Applause, 13-2. Second, number 7, Russian Revival, 11-4, joint favourite. And third, number 9, South Salem, 8-1.